Revenge of the Nerds is a 1984 American comedy film from 20th Century Fox, produced by Ted Field and Peter Samuelson, directed by Jeff Kanew, and starring Robert Carradine and Anthony Edwards, with Curtis Armstrong, Ted McGinley, Julia Montgomery, Brian Tochi, Larry B. Scott, Michelle Meyrink, John Goodman, and Donald Gibb. The film's plot chronicles a group of nerds at the fictional Adams College trying to stop the ongoing harassment by the jock fraternity, the Alpha Betas, in addition to the latter's sister sorority, Pi Delta Pi. Plot: best friends and nerds Louis Skolnick and Gilbert Lowe enroll in Adams College to study computer science. They are kicked out of the freshman dorms by the Alpha Betas, a fraternity composed primarily of football team members, after the Alphas carelessly burned down their own frat house. Dean Ulich sets up the freshmen in temporary quarters in the school's gymnasium, but allows them to rush the fraternities to alleviate their housing situation. Louis, Gilbert, and other nerds fail to gain fraternity membership, but are able to rent and completely renovate a rundown two-story campus house. Their success irks Stan Gable, the lead Alpha Beta and Adams's star quarterback. He sets his fellow fraternity members against the nerds, pulling several pranks. The nerds approach the campus police for help, but are bound by the fraternity's Greek council that adjudicates all such pranks. The only way to appeal the Greek Council's inaction is to join a national fraternity, a black fraternity Lambda Lambda Lambda. Tri-Lambs considers an Adams College chapter. The fraternity president, U.N. Jefferson, is not enthusiastic about a predominantly white group becoming a chapter, but is forced to grant an automatic 60-day probationary membership due to bylaws. The nerds invite Jefferson to a Lambda party with the Omega Mu sorority, which contained similar nerdy women including Gilbert's girlfriend Judy. Their party is livened up when Booger supplies joints with high-quality marijuana. The Alpha Betas, along with the Pi Delta P's, to which Stan's head cheerleader girlfriend Betty Childs belongs, disrupt the party with a sounder of swine. U.N. Jefferson's attitude changes when he sees the discrimination the nerds face. The nerds later take their revenge on both groups by staging a panty raid on the Pi Delta P's and pouring liquid heat into the Alpha Beta's jock straps. Jefferson is impressed by the nerds' willingness to stand up for themselves, and he commissions them the Adams College chapter of Lambda Lambda Lambda. Although now a fraternity, the harassment continues, and Lambda 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 finds their prank charges stonewalled by Stan, who is also president of the Greek Council. The nerds realize they can only stop Stan by the Tri-Lambs winning the upcoming Greek games during homecoming, the winning chapter gaining the presidency. Using their high intelligence, the nerds, working with the Omega Moose, win some sporting events and finish the athletic competition in second place. During the costume charity sale events, the nerds use nude photos of Betty, taken during their earlier revenge pranks, to outsell the Alpha Betas. During this, Louis, who has fallen in love with Betty, steals Stan's costume and tricks her into having sex with him. Betty is surprised when Louis reveals his identity, but later admits to Stan that she is in love with a Tri-Lamb. With the Alpha Betas and nerds in close running, the final event is a musical competition. The nerds readily outdo the Alpha Betas with a techno-computer-driven musical production and win the competition. Gilbert is nominated by the Tri-Lambs as president-elect of the next Greek Council. Enraged, Coach Harris demands the Alpha Betas take revenge, and Stan, having just learned that Betty has fallen for Louis, orders the Alpha Betas to trash the nerds' fraternity house. The nerds are despondent at seeing their house wrecked. But Gilbert says Lambda 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 is the first time he has been in an accepted group and will not let this stand. Attempting to speak at a pep rally, the Alpha Betas stop Gilbert, but D. Nulich, U.N. Jefferson, and a group of National Tri-Lam members arrive in force to ensure that Gilbert is allowed to speak. Gilbert speaks out on the discrimination the nerds have endured, causing Lewis to join him and finally to admit his nerd status. Judy and Betty then join the respective boyfriends on stage, and Gilbert asks all alumni who have ever been picked on or made to feel inferior to join them. Most of the audience does so. D. Nulich then says that the Tri-Lams will occupy the Alpha Beta house until all damage to the Tri-Lam house is repaired. When Burke and Ogre protest, asking where they will live, D. Nulich retorts, "Your jocks go live in the gym." The nerds and alumni celebrate their victory. Cast, production, exterior scenes such as the arrival of the nerds at college and the fraternity houses were filmed at the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona. The original nerds' residence, from which they were ousted by the Alpha Betas, was actually Cochise Hall. Their subsequent residence was U of A's Bear Down Gymnasium. The original Alpha Beta fraternity house that is burned down was filmed at the Alpha Gamma Rho house and the Beta Theta Pi house on University Boulevard. The Pi Delta Pi sorority house was actually the Phi Delta Theta fraternity house. Soundtrack: Ollie E. Brown, of Ollie and Jerry fame, wrote and performed as Revenge the song, "The So Incredible," for the film. "They So Incredible" is performed with different lyrics by the nerds in the film at the final event of the Greek Games. "We Are the Champions" by Queen is played during the finale of the film. Reception: the film holds a 70% approval rating and 5.9 average at the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes based on 43 critics' reviews. The consensus is undeniably lowbrow but surprisingly sly. Revenge of the Nerds has enough big laughs to qualify as a minor classic in the slobs versus snobs subgenre. Quote, "It also holds a 41 out of 100 ratio on Metacritic based on 5 critics' reviews and signifying mixed or average reviews. Revenge of the Nerds is number 91 on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies. About 3 decades after the film's release, commentators have looked back at the film and considered some of the scenes, particularly when Lewis pretends to be Stan and has a sexual encounter with Betty, to be rape by deception, and a misogynistic remnant of a male-dominated culture of the time. William Bradley of the Mary Sue stated that after viewing the film again as an adult he was immediately struck by the way the film plays sexual exploitation and assault for laughs. Amy Benfer of Salon wrote that the Revenge of the Nerds scene, and a similar scene in John Hughes' 16 Candles, were evidence that at the time of these films' productions, people were stupid about date rape, legacy, fraternity. Due to the influence of the film, several chapters of Lambda 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 have sprung up in different locations around the United States. The real-life fraternity has 6 chapters in Connecticut, Maryland, New York, and Washington. Sequels: 3 less successful sequels followed, 2 of which were television films. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise, 1987. Revenge of the Nerds 3, The Next Generation, 1992. Revenge of the Nerds IV, Nerds in Love, 1994. Planned remake. A remake of the original Revenge of the Nerds was slated for release in 2007. The first project for the newly created Fox Atomic, but was cancelled in November 2006 after 2 weeks of filming. The cast included Adam Brody, Dan Bird, Katie Cassidy, Kristen Cavallari, Jenna Dewan, Chris Marquette, Ryan Pinkston, Efren Ramirez, and Nick Zano. The film was to be directed by Kyle Newman, executive produced by MCG, and written by Gabe Sachs and Jeff Judah, Adam J. Epstein and Andrew Jacobson, and Adam F. Goldberg. Filming took place in Atlanta, Georgia at Agnes Scott College, the Georgia state capitol, and Inman Park. Filming was originally scheduled to take place at Emory University, but university officials changed their minds after reading the script. The film was shelved after producers found the movie difficult to shoot on the smaller Agnes Scott campus, and studio head Peter Rice was disappointed with the dailies. 20th Century Fox personnel have stated that it's highly unlikely that a remake will be picked up in the future. Revenge of the Nerds on IMDb. Revenge of the Nerds at All Movie. Revenge of the Nerds at Box Office Mojo. Revenge of the Nerds at Rotten Tomatoes. Revenge of the Nerds at Metacritic. Revenge of the Nerds on Fast Rewind.